Hi, good evening. Welcome to the course on basic construction materials. And now we are at week 10, and week 10 content is related to pavement materials. As till now we have seen basic construction materials like cement, concrete, and the components of the concrete like aggregates and etc. And then the metals like the reinforcing bars which we are using in our construction industry, and some other metals which are used in other types of like for suppose copper etc, copper, aluminium etc, which will be using for some extra fittings like this window panels, for making of window panels aluminium is used, and for plumbing works copper is used. So far we have seen all those materials, and now the at the level of week 10 we are going to see the pavement materials. Okay. And I have framed some a set of questions related to these payment questions, payment materials. So we'll go through those questions first. By going through those questions we can also go through the content. Okay. I hope the screen is visible to everyone. And this is the basic outline of the course. As we all know, the main purpose of the course is to provide basic information on structure and properties of construction materials, such as structure of common materials, types of bonds, mechanism of damage and failure in materials. This we have seen in the first 3 weeks of the course, and the second part, like from 4th week till 12th week, the second part deals with introduction to different materials used in construction. So the prime objective of the course is to link the material choice with applications in construction. So I am going to the I'm moving to the questions now. The first question is, bottommost layer of pavement is known as. Bottommost layer of pavement is known as. Actually, if you have gone through the lecture materials based on this pavement materials, you would have seen two types of materials, like two types of pavements, like flexible pavement and rigid pavement. And there are some different aspects related to that flexible pavement and rigid pavement, and the layers also will be differing in that. Okay, so okay, first I'll show you the different. See, when it comes to types of payments, first of all, what do you mean by payment materials? What do you mean by payment? So for suppose payment is nothing but the way like you would have seen roads are nothing but the payments, and roads are made up of different materials. In some places you would have seen concrete roads, uh, like cement roads, and in some cases you would have seen some mud roads, and in some cases you would have seen some like tar roads. You will be saying in common as tar roads, but those roads are made up of asphalt bitumen or asphalt, which are nothing but flexible pavement. See, the types of pavements are flexible pavement or asphalt concrete pavement, or the rigid pavement or cement concrete pavement. Asphalt concrete pavement is nothing but the bituminous pavement, and the like we'll be commonly calling this asphalt pavement as tar tar road, like it is commonly known as tar road. And rigid pavement or cement concrete pavement, and the other types are wet mix macadam, water-bound macadam and compacted soil. These are nothing but, for example, if you see this wet mix macadam, what we'll be doing is we'll be mixing sandust and soil and aggregate. All these things are premixed with water and compacted. Like these will be paved on the way, and these will be compacted by making use of some rollers. But in case of water-bound macadam, what we'll be doing is, first on the surface the pavements will be the aggregates will be arranged and then compacted with a roller, so that it will get crushed and it will help us to reduce the gaps between the aggregate material. Okay, but even after compacting there will be some gaps left. Those gaps will be filled up with by mixing the stone dust with water, and by spreading on the surface, on the compacted surface, the gaps will be filled up. That is water-bound macadam road. Compacted soil is nothing but the soil will be compacted. The soil having different layers will be compacted by making use of some machinery. So those are pavements made up of compacted soil. So these are the types of pavements we will go through. For suppose on in cities and all, you would have seen these cement concrete roads and asphalt roads. But when you go to some villages, you will be able to see this compacted soil and water-bound macadam and wet mixed macadam. So these are the types of pavements. See, this is how it will be laid. The pavement will be, in case of this wet mix macadam, it will be premixed. It will be premixed like sandust, water and aggregates will be premixed, and then they will be poured onto the surface and then compacted with a roller. And as I already said, with some differences we will be having this flexible and rigid pavements. See, here you can see some basic differences between this flexible and rigid pavement. See, when it comes to the flexible pavement, from the flexible pavement, it refers to the layered systems with asphalt concrete forming the top layer and progressively better materials as you move up. So it is flexible pavement will be in a layered system. It will be in a layered system, and we can also go through what are all the layers over there. But the rigid pavement, it refers to the cement concrete slabs laid over granular base or dry lean concrete base So cement concrete slabs will be laid over the granular base. Cement concrete slabs will be laid over the granular base here. And when it comes to flexible pavement, when it comes to load transfer mechanism, how the load transfer mechanism will be in flexible pavement, that is, the load transfer will be by distribution across the layers. We already discussed that in flexible pavement we will have many layers. Okay, so here the load transfer will be through distribution across the layer in such a way that each layer remains safe from compressive shear failure. Like the load will be carried from one layer to the other, and in that process each layer should remain safe. It should not undergo compressive shear failure. It should be safe. So the load will be carried from one layer to the other layer. But in case of rigid pavements, what will happen is the structural action of slab distributes the load to the subgrade evenly. Subgrade is nothing but the soil. So in case of rigid pavements, there you will have cement concrete slabs. Through the structural action of the cement concrete slab, the load will get distributed to the soil evenly. So the load distribution mechanism is also different in case of flexible and rigid pavements. And here the flexible pavement will be continuous. There won't be any joints here. But in case of rigid pavement, it will be jointed or continuously reinforced. For suppose if you take slabs, up to some extent only slab will be there, like one unit of slab. After that again another unit of slab will be there. So in between you will have some construction joints. Or else it should be continuously reinforced. At least the reinforcement should be continuous in case of rigid pavement. So based on this, I think you will be able to answer these questions, but you need to once again. So when it comes to the important pavement materials, there are some materials which are important for this payment for this payment. So first thing is soil. Soil is very important because at the last the load will be carried out to the soil. It should be distributed to the soil evenly without any failure. So soil is nothing but the subgrade. Soil is nothing but the subgrade. It often needs to be compacted to a certain extent, if not good. For suppose if the soil is not very well drained, or it has some pores or some pores through which water molecules can go through, at that time you need to go for compaction. If the soil is not of good quality, then you need to go for compaction of the soil. Compaction of the soil, which is nothing but the subgrade. Okay. Then the another important pavement material is granular materials like stone and sand which usually forms a base layer under the main pavement, like for load distribution in flexible pavements and for drainage. For suppose if you have this stone and sand under this main layer, under this main pavement layer, what would be the importance of this sand and stone? The presence of this sand and stone will be useful for the improved drainage system under the pavements. Okay, so the granular materials are also an important pavement material here. And asphalt or asphalt concrete, that means bitumen or bituminous concrete. This is the main pavement material for the flexible pavement. And cement concrete, this is the main pavement material for rigid pavements. See, when it comes to uses of bitumen material like asphalt cement is nothing but an asphalt binder, and it is used in waterproofing of roofs, damp proofing and flooring material, and as water barriers in basement, because this asphalt cement has much resistance towards water. So that's why it is used in case of waterproofing of roofs or damp proofing or some flooring materials, or as water barriers in basement. So these are the uses of bituminous materials apart from this pavement material. And these are some laboratory tests on bitumen. I'll come to that point later. And I want to show you the different layers of construction of pavement. See, typical pavement cross section. The pavement cross section will be in layers, especially this is for asphalt pavements. See, first thing is subgrade. Subgrade is nothing but soil. So this is the bottommost layer of the pavement. Bottommost layer of the pavement is subgrade, and upon that subgrade you will have subbase, and upon that subbase you will have base, and at the topmost layer is the surface. On this surface the vehicular movement will be there. See, here is a detailed picture, you can say. See, the soil or subgrade. So see here, this compacted stabilized soil subgrade. Okay, through compaction you can get rid of the pores through which water molecules can go through. So first the soil is compacted. So compacted and stabilized soil subgrade, this is the first bottommost layer, subgrade, and this is the subbase. Here it consists of a granular base for drainage purposes. Granular base is nothing but it consists of stone and sand. This when it has stone and sand, the drainage system will be proper. And this is the subbase, and upon that you will have base layer. base layer is nothing but the binder course. The base layer is nothing but the binder course, and upon the surface you'll have this surface course. So surface course, binder course, drainage course, and subgrade. Subgrade is the compacted and stabilized soil base. Stabilized soil base. See, here you can see in the picture, this is the soil, this is the soil, and this is the sub base, this is the base, and this is the surface. On the surface bitumen will be poured. Like, subgrade is weak moisture sensitive in situ soil, and base is strong and free drainage. Okay, see, these are the different characteristics of different layers in the flexible payments. The surface will be very strong, durable, impermeable, manufactured, and expensive. Okay, subbase moderate strength, free draining, natural material, and inexpensive. Natural material and inexpensive. When it comes to the base, it is strong, free draining, manufactured, and less expensive. So as you can see, from top to bottom this strength will be reducing. Like, from bottom to top the strength will be increasing. The each and every layer, the strength will be increasing from bottom to top. Bottom layer will be weak, upon that it will have moderate strength, and the other layer will have, it is strong in nature, and the topmost layer will be very strong. The topmost layer will be very strong. Okay, see, based on these topics, I think you will be able to answer this question. The bottommost layer of pavement is known as, the bottommost layer of pavement is known as. Just now we have discussed the layers in the pavement cross section, right? What are the layers? For suppose this is the surface, this is the base, this is the sub base, and this is the subgrade or soil. So based on this, what is the bottommost layer of the pavement? The bottommost layer of the pavement is known as subgrade. The bottommost layer of the pavement is known as subgrade. The bottommost layer of the pavement is known as subgrade. See, flexible pavement distribute the wheel load. Like, how will be the distribution of wheel load, the distribution mechanism of the wheel load in flexible pavements? See, the flexible pavements is made up of different layers. So what should happen? The wheel load should be carried out safely from the top layer to the bottom layer, So as you can see in the options, the first option is flexible pavement distribute the wheel load directly to the subgrade. Is this correct? Like, directly to the subgrade, or through structural action, or through a set of layers to the subgrade. See, it cannot carry out the load directly to the subgrade, because in between it will have different layers. So through those layers on, someone has raised a hand. Siddharth, yeah, tell me, do you have any query?
No, I didn't have any query.
Okay, fine, thank you. Okay, the flexible pavement distribute the wheel load through the set of subgrade, to the set of layers to the subgrade. And why it is not through structural action? Because you don't have any, like, for suppose in case of rigid pavement you have this cement concrete slab. So through the structural action is nothing but, for suppose if you take a beam and apply a point load, for suppose simply supported beam with a point load. When you apply this load, there will be flexural bending of the beam. There will be flexural bending of the beam, right? Flexural bending of the beam. That means like it is a means of a structural action. It is nothing but a structural action to the applied load, like a response to the applied load, a response of the beam to the applied load. So here there is no like any like we didn't have any structure here. We are just making some layers by making use of some naturally available material. Okay, so the answer for this question is flexible pavement distribute the wheel load through a set of layers to the subgrade, and see, I think this question is the direct, like the opposite of this. Like previously we have seen for flexible pavement, and for rigid pavement, in case of rigid pavement, it distributes the wheel load through the structural action of cement, concrete, slab. So the rigid pavement distribute the wheel load through structural action. And this is a generalized question, like the fundamental factor in the selection of pavement type is, for suppose you have different types of pavement, right? Like wet bound macadam, water bound macadam, and then flexible pavement, and then rigid pavement or compacted soil. What is the fundamental factor based on which you will be going for the selection of pavement type? See, here are the options. First option is climatic condition, second one is type and intensity of traffic, and third one is subgrade soil and drainage conditions, and fourth one is availability of funds. Which you feel is the most fundamental factor in the selection of pavement type? So based on this type and intensity of traffic, because pavement has to take the wheel loads, which will be coming from the vehicular movement, So based on the type of the vehicles or type of the vehicular traffic which you will be having over the region, or the intensity of the traffic, based on the intensity of the traffic also we have to go for this the selection of pavement type. So the fundamental factor in the selection of pavement type is type and intensity of traffic. And as I told earlier, like in case of flexible pavements, it will be a continuous thing. It won't have any joints in between. But in case of this cement concrete, in case of this rigid pavement, nothing but the cement concrete pavement, it won't be continuous. It will be having some gaps in between. Those are nothing but the expansion joints. And what is the purpose of this expansion joints? See, the purpose of expansion joints is nothing but like for suppose if the temperature varies, based on the temperature effects also, there will be some deformation in the concrete, right? As you seen in the earlier, like creep effects, shrinkage effects, temperature effects, different types of effects will be there on the cement concrete. So when there are temperature effects, the expansion joints will allow for free expansion during the temperature variation, so that it won't develop any temperature stresses. The material won't develop any kind of temperature stresses. So to allow for free expansion, the expansion joints are provided in rigid pavements. To allow for free expansion, the expansion joints are provided in rigid pavements. And asphalt or bitumen is obtained from, you would have seen a picture here. See, the source of bitumen, the main source of bitumen or asphalt is, it is obtained from fractional distillation of crude oil. the fractional distillation of crude oil. From the fractional distillation of crude oil, you will get the bitumen. From the crude oil, we will get the bitumen. From crude oil, the refining of the crude oil only, from refining of the crude oil only, we are getting this petrol and petroleum products, right? And when you do the fractional distillation is a process, so when you do fractional distillation of crude oil, you can get bitumen. So bitumen is obtained from fractional distillation of crude oil. See, in the penetration macadam construction, the bitumen is like I have already told you two types of construction, like wet mix macadam and waterborne macadam. What is the basic difference between them? See, when you go through the first option, the bitumen is sprayed after the aggregates are spread and compacted. This is the case of okay. So first option is sprayed after the aggregate is sprayed after the aggregates are spread and compacted. What is this one, like wet mixed or waterborne? This is waterborne macadam. Waterborne macadam, and this is wet mixed macadam. So here it is the case of waterborne macadam. So sprayed after the aggregates are spread and compacted. So these questions are related to the testing of bitumen. So first I'll go through the content here. I'll explain the content related to the testing of bitumen. Then you will be able to answer those questions. See, for any type of material, as you seen in the earlier lectures, you would have understood that for any type of material, laboratory tests are important. Laboratory tests are important before using them in the construction industry, right? So even for bitumen, there are some typical laboratory tests which are important. In that, the first one is penetration test, second one is softening point test, third one is ductility test. And penetration test is used for the gradation of bitumen. To understand the grade of the bitumen, we are making use of this penetration test, and softening point test to know the temperature at which the bitumen softens. The temperature at which the bitumen softens, you can obtain it from softening point test. And ductility test is to know the like bitumen, when you heat it at some particular temperature, it will have some viscous nature. So to understand that viscosity here, we are going for this ductility test. Okay, in case of penetration test, how we will be conducting this test is, see here, bitumen is taken in a container at 25 degrees centigrade, and this is the penetration needle. A needle will be placed on the top of it, and it will be equipped with 100 grams of bitumen. So if you place this if the tip of the needle with this 100 grams of bitumen on the material at 25 degrees Celsius, after some time it will penetrate, the needle will penetrate into the bitumen up to some extent, says in some mm, up to some millimeters of up to an extent of millimeters. So based on the extent of penetration, you can define the grade of the bitumen. Based on the extent of penetration, you can define the grade of the bitumen. Okay. And in case of softening point test, what will how we'll be doing is, see, in this apparatus, this here, under these black balls, bitumen will be placed, cubes of bitumen will be placed. Okay. And these are the steel balls on which placed upon the bitumen, and this is the thermometer. And here, see, here you can see this is the starting point of this test. And if you increase the temperature, you can see the red line here, this is at a decreased temperature. And in the next case, if you increase the temperature at some particular temperature, the balls which are placed on this asphalt will go through the bitumen, and it will go to the other, it will go and sit on the other platform, the bottommost platform. So what is happening here is, after reaching a particular temperature which is known as softening temperature, at that particular temperature the bitumen is getting softened, and because of which the balls are penetrating through the bituminous material, the balls are penetrating through the bituminous material and are going onto the bottommost platform. So this temperature is known as softening point, the temperature at which the bitumen is melting is known as softening point. And for ductility, you will keep it in a, this is called as briquette operators. And in between these two cubes, bitumen will be placed, and it and you will start stretching the operators, and without breaking, to what extent the material can be expanded. Based on that, you can say the ductility of the bitumen. See, now you will be able to answer these questions. See, penetration test on bitumen is used for determining its, what is it used for? Like determining its grade, or determining its viscosity, or determining its ductility, or determining its temperature susceptibility. These are the options. So as I already said, penetration test on bitumen is used for determining its grade. As from the characteristic compressive strength of concrete, we are able to determine the grade of the concrete, right? So here, by making use of this penetration test, you will be able to determine the grade of the bitumen. And the grade, how you will define the grade of the bitumen is, see, for suppose if I say I have a bitumen of grade 80 by 100, what do I mean by this? That means when the penetration value is in between 8 mm to 10 mm, is in between 8 mm to 10 mm, then I can say that the bitumen which I am having is of grade 80 by 100. For suppose if the penetration value is between 9 to 10 mm, then what would be the grade of the bitumen? 90 by 100. So based on the penetration value, you will be able to define the grade of the bitumen. And the next question pertains to the softening point test. Like, the softening point of bitumen to be used for road construction at a place where maximum temperature is 40 degrees centigrade should be. See, you can think in a generalized way. For suppose the softening point of bitumen, that means the temperature at which the bitumen becomes, like, it softens, the bitumen softens. So when the for suppose at a place where you want to use this bitumen, if the maximum temperature is 40 degrees Celsius, what you have to do? like how you have to adopt the bitumen. See, based on the softening point of the bitumen, you need to choose. When you have some temperature constraints, you need to choose. Okay. For suppose now the maximum temperature is 40 degrees Celsius. Maximum temperature is 40 degrees Celsius. So the softening point of bitumen should be, it should be greater than 40 degrees Celsius. Why? See, the maximum temperature itself is 40 degrees Celsius. For suppose if the softening point of bitumen is less than this temperature, that means if the maximum temperature is 40 degrees Celsius, that means like you can expect temperatures starting from 0 to 40 degrees, right? The maximum is 40 degrees. And when the softening point of the bitumen is only 20 degrees Celsius, what will happen? You cannot use it for road construction, because as the temperature as a softening point is 20 degrees Celsius for the bitumen what you have chosen, and the maximum temperature is 40 degrees Celsius. Obviously when the maximum temperature occurs, the bitumen will soften, so it is not good for road construction. That's why when before using it for the construction, you have to go for this softening point test, and from the softening point test you will be able to assess like what is the what is the softening temperature of the bitumen. Based on that you can go for the use of the bitumen. For suppose here in this case, when the maximum temperature is 40 degrees Celsius, you have to go for a bitumen of softening point with greater than 40 degrees Celsius, that is greater than the maximum temperature. It should be greater than the maximum temperature, right? So these are the questions which I have framed, based on which you will be able to understand the content of week 10. And if you have any queries related to the content which I have discussed now, you can feel free to ask now. If you have any questions, we can make a discussion right now.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, tell me.
Ma'am, am I alone in this Gmeet?
I think you are the only person who is there in this meet. Do you want to ask something?
No, ma'am.
Okay. If you have any queries, you can ask now.
Ma'am, the other students have didn't join, or they didn't want to join, or something else.
Like this is a recorded course, like the sessions will be recorded and will be uploaded later, so they can watch it at any time. So maybe that might be the reason.
Okay.
Every student need not join, but if you have any queries, like this is a live session, right? You can have direct discussions over here, so that is the importance of joining. Or else if you have some other works, you can see the recorded versions later. That is the reason.
Okay, ma'am. So where can I get the recorded lectures?
You will be getting a link for all those. Like you have a login, right, for this NPTEL course. In that you will be able to see the sessions, problem solving
Okay,
sessions.
ma'am.
Okay. And
Okay,
you
ma'am.
would have got some intimation over this from the NPTEL team too. Like every time they are uploading it, like every week they are uploading the contents related to that week. Okay. You can see that in
Okay.
your login. Through your login you can go through all these recorded lectures, and they would have shared the link also with you, where these things are available over YouTube. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
And this for this course, how many questions will be there in the exam?
I guess
Can you please tell me?
no, the format of in examination point of view, I'm not sure of the format.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the format, but the questions will be like you would have solved all the assignment problems till now, right? Based on
Yes. Yes.
like questions will not be of the same, but the content will match for those questions, like related to those questions. So if you are able to answer all the assignment questions, it will be easy for you during the exam. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So do you have any queries related to the content?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So so if you don't have any queries, I'll stop the session for this week and we can join in the next week.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.